If I told you that Meghan Markle's newest business empire is now at the center of a political storm inside the UK Parliament, would you believe it? Because just a few hours ago, lawmakers quietly released a set of documents and internal memos that could change everything for Meghan's brand, her public image, and even her standing with the royal family. It began with what seemed like a routine review conducted by a cross-party committee. They were tasked with examining the commercial activities of public figures who still maintain royal titles. But when Meghan's new business ventures came under scrutiny, the tone inside Westminster shifted dramatically. Several MPs claimed they found irregularities in the way her company handled branding rights, licensing agreements, and even cross-border financial transactions tied to her growing American network. Behind closed doors, a senior MP reportedly described the findings as deeply concerning and warned that if the allegations proved true, Meghan could face serious legal and political consequences. More troubling, however, is the suggestion that Meghan may have used certain royal associations in ways Parliament believes could violate long-standing ethical rules involving the monarchy. And then came the real bombshell. A classified briefing, leaked only minutes before it was scheduled to be sealed, hinted at a potential investigation that could place Meghan's empire under direct parliamentary oversight. That leak has now ignited a firestorm online, with critics demanding full transparency and supporters claiming she is being unfairly targeted. Why did Parliament act now? What exactly did they uncover in Meghan's business files? And most importantly, how far is this investigation prepared to go? Tonight, we dig into every layer of this unfolding political crisis. The story is only just beginning. Family bonds that do not need fixing. At the very top of the British monarchy, a quiet battle is taking place. It involves King Charles and his son, Prince William. King Charles and Prince William making a rare public appearance for a cause that's near and dear. The royal heir apparent to the throne. You would think their styles would complement each other, but they don't at all. The conflict comes down to two very different ways of thinking. Charles believes in mercy and understanding individual circumstances. William, on the other hand, believes in strategy, planning, and protecting the institution of the monarchy at all costs, even if it puts him at odds with his aging father. King Charles's entire ruling style puts family first. He believes in quiet, behind-the-scenes talks over tea. He thinks that reconciliation is the best way to solve problems between members of the royal household. Frankly, it's not even his fault. It's how he was raised, and he sees this as the noble way to manage the monarchy. But to a growing number of people, especially his own son, this system of ruling has too many loopholes. They see his kindness and desire for family unity as a weakness that no other successful monarch employs. This system fits a particular set of royals. Those royals who only want to reap the benefits of being royal and not play a role in keeping what it means being royal alive. One such royal is the now Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle. Married to the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, she was a royal whose ties to the monarchy were mainly employed to strengthen her brand and nothing else. She upheld no sense of duty to the crown. Many such royals existed and lived happily in the monarchy. At the forefront of this bunch was Meghan. Prince William has been watching this play out for years. He has seen that his father's mercy and his in-laws' lackadaisical approach isn't healing anything. Instead, he believes it is watering down the once dominant and powerful royal name, making it weaker. It seems to be giving power and a platform to anyone who wants to speak out against the crown. While the monarchy itself is losing faith among the public, William feels his father's system is actively making things worse regarding his sister-in-law's acts. He sees them as bitter icing on the cake and a testament to his fears. This all came to loggerheads during a particular meeting between father and son. It became painfully clear that they were looking at their situation from two completely different angles. Charles sees family bonds that need fixing. He sees his sons, his daughter-in-law, and others connected to the family and believes the issues can be solved over a few meetings by talking through emotions and feelings. William, however, sees something else entirely. He sees a problem that a strict enforcement of rules and power could solve straight away. He sees weak branches that need to be cut off before they infect the rest of the tree. William sees an institution that has survived for 1,000 years, because it had clear rules that everyone followed. The monarchy survived for so long because it knew when to adapt, but also when to be strict and unmoving. Most of all, it had a clear spine, a spine which William feels the current monarchy, in all fairness, lacks. He worries it's only going to get worse if important changes are not made. He isn't just sitting by and waiting for the crown to be his. He is actively participating before he becomes king. He is already assembling a team of experts and sharp individuals who will help him achieve his goal of making the royal name as powerful as it once was. This team will study how the monarchy once worked, how other European monarchies operate, and the successful plans of former royal leaders. They are building a new framework of rules that can be applied to modern times with the necessary steps to ensure there are no loopholes like the ones in his father's system. He is not building this plan for revenge or just to show that he is a worthy king. He is building a foundation for the future to guarantee the survival of the empire he lives in, loves, and is destined to one day rule. William's vision includes strict rules and clear decisions about who is considered a working royal, who is allowed to participate in royal activities, and who deserves the protection and privileges of royalty itself. Right now, the lines around what it means to be royal are fuzzy. For William, the game is pretty straightforward. If you serve the crown, you are a part of it. If you don't, you are out. A clear message that meant the likes of Meghan were in danger of losing relevance. This decision by William is really not unfounded. Some say a particular set of royals made him angry and caused this. You want to find out the attention-loving DNA in royals. Throughout history, the desire for status and riches has been a powerful human drive. The monarchy, even as an old system of ruling, is no exception. It seems everybody wants to be associated with the royal household. Scratch that. It seems everybody wants to be a royal. This is the exact opposite of what William envisions. He wants the title of royal to belong only to those who actually work for the institution, not just those who use the family name for status alone. He wants to get rid of this particular situation that he feels his father has allowed to go on for too long. Even though he hasn't been crowned yet, William believes that regardless of his father's actions, he needs to step in to save what he sees as a crumbling British monarchy. His philosophy boils down to one core idea: exclusivity. In his view, you either step in, serve the title, and die for the title, and the crown stays with you, or you step back, chase independence, and seek public validation, and the crown does not go with you. To William, the crown means everything, but if it means everything, it cannot belong to everyone. Exclusivity is what gives it power. You can't have random people with faint family connections identifying as royals. If you do, what on earth does it mean to be royal? Nothing. William believes we can't have that. If everybody is a little bit royal, then what does it truly mean to be royal? This is a question he reportedly asks himself time and time again. He isn't trying to settle old scores or make a dramatic display of power. He's simply trying to preserve the dignity that the household once upheld. This change from the old way of doing things to a modern monarchy would involve important changes. It means keeping what matters and fixing what doesn't. Most of all, it involves drawing important lines that his father was never able to draw because of his emotional connections. The current system is based on long-held traditions and updated protocols from centuries ago, which may or may not be a working system for today. William and his team are working behind the scenes to change this. He wants to strip the title of its old meaning and give it a new one. If you work for the crown and offer your service, then you are royal. You get the HRH title. With a new poll revealing a majority of Brits want to see Harry stripped of his HRH title for more. We're joined by a royal expert, public recognition, influence, and everything that comes with it. If you don't, you do not get any of these privileges. It's a simple plan, really, with transition and preservation in mind. This is targeted at those attention-seeking royals who step out to do Netflix shows, podcasts, and needless interviews. In William's view, when you step out to do that, it is for you and yourself alone. It has nothing to do with the crown. You will be welcomed back into the fold only when you come back to serve it. While you choose to be away, chasing independent and selfish interests using the family name, you are not a royal. You are merely an attention-seeking relative. It's simple. He wants the titles of king and queen to count for something. Again, his new system is meant to be judged by their work, not by outsiders, public opinion, or media outlets. William wants the king, the queen, and the monarchy itself to be the ones who identify who is truly royal, those who work full-time for the crown. Yes, you're in the royal family as members who are just related to an official royal. No, you're not considered royalty. You still get to keep your relevance as a family member, but you are not royal, at least not until you serve the crown. The thing is, this is a beautiful idea and all, but how is this even meant to work? How are these boundaries meant to be enforced? Sculpting this idea of boundaries, Prince William couldn't create this entire framework by himself. He had to assemble a team. The pretty thing about this team is that it wasn't just made up of British advisors or people close to him. No, this was a secret team for which he assembled qualified members from all over the world: Britain, Sweden, Denmark, and Germany. He assembled the superior team so he could solve the superior problem. He specifically chose experts from those countries because they are examples of regions where the monarchy has successfully modernized and transitioned from an ancient system to one that works in the modern world. He needed their expertise to avoid losing relevance, and he needed their ideas on how to set firm royal boundaries. William was building a playbook of what actually works in the 21st century. It was completely different from anything his father, King Charles, could have ever generated. In this sort of situation, his father would have sought out everyone's opinion and tried to find a middle ground so that everybody felt heard. Prince William, however, thought of this not as a family business, but as what it was: the British monarchy. And he believed the monarchy was in need of a savior and a new rule book. The very rule book that he and his team were working tirelessly to create. A working monarchy should not be run like a family business where everyone's feelings are the top priority. In William's vision, this is a serious institution where the rules are clear. You follow them completely. You don't just indulge in them occasionally when they are convenient for you. Everybody involved has to be either fully in or fully out. There is no halfway. You need to show full commitment and be completely involved with the crown. The mechanism he wanted to use to implement this new style of ruling the monarchy was a little bit boring, perhaps, but it was also a very effective form of communication. It involved letters and official documents delivered through the postal service. It involved using letters with the royal seal and the monarch's signature to pass on information, or more accurately, to pass down new rules. This system gave no room for members to debate decisions. It didn't even provide a way to reply back. You just received your letter, and from that moment on, you knew your fate. A copy would be kept in the royal archives. So you didn't need to make an appeal or complain because the decision had already been made by the king, the queen, and the governing body of the royal household. It was, in his mind, the perfect way to pass a law. Paperwork and all that it entails has been a very powerful tool used by the British monarchy for centuries. William saw it as something the modern generation needed to use a little bit more, or actually a lot more aggressively. Once you have an official document, you have structure and a clear decision. There is no need for unnecessary drama or arguments. It needed to be said and done. Introduce a new letter that simply stated, "Thank you for your service. We are done, and the monarchy is moving on from you. You are no longer considered royal." That's it. No form of debate or rebellion. It was simply a law passed and immediately effective. This was the new pattern William and his team were working on. A new and huge wall with the word boundary boldly painted on it. The new framework basically says that all members working for the royal family get to keep their status. Sure, but people like distant relatives and non-working family members would be respected. But no, they would not be recognized as royalty. And to make this happen, he just needed Charles's signature. It wasn't something that needed public opinion or a vote from the household. He just needed one thing: the signature of the head of the sovereign, the king. This new framework was to be introduced with deserting royals in mind. However, one particular royal was to be heavily affected by this huge wall, the Duchess of Desertion. But what happens when one of the biggest deserters is a high-ranking member of the monarchy? The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, was one of the people Prince William had in mind when developing this new law. She was one of the people whose empire, everything she has built and marketed, was founded on that one word, royal. The title of Her Royal Highness was her main selling point. This new wall William was building was going to be one of the biggest hurdles her career would ever have to overcome. If this new law passed, she would be stripped of her HRH title and demoted to just the Duchess of Sussex. While the Duchess title would still be used in official royal documents, in the eyes of the world, it wouldn't hold the same power as it once did. Her whole brand and identity were built on this royal connection. She created a media empire based on her royal status, using the name not just for the responsibilities it carried, but for the status itself. This was something Prince William was actively against. A social media royal. This battle with the Duchess of Sussex also involved the two brothers, William and Harry. Even Harry was not exempt from this cut down of official members. He too was demoted in practical terms to just the Duke of Sussex. William wasn't pushing these two crucial members away out of spite. He was simply enforcing a strict definition of the roles they were now playing. They were no longer working royals. Without the prince and princess titles being actively used, Meghan would not have the same official weight she once carried. She would be seen as less important in the eyes of the media, who base a lot of a person's importance on the official title they hold. It was an incoming disaster for her brand, as the Duchess just didn't have the same currency and didn't open the same doors in the powerful rooms where she was constantly operating. Even after she and her family left the palace and moved, she didn't stop. She ended up building her empire to accommodate this new reality. After all, the Duchess of Sussex was still a big title because it was connected to the royals. Everything she built was tied to that one title. Her empire didn't fall as significantly as one might expect. It continued on more or less the same wavelength. She isn't just another celebrity. She is royalty. At least one who stepped away. The Duchess of Sussex was a powerful title in all fairness, but it was seen as losing relevance day by day as the boundaries of William's new vision for the monarchy became firmer. Of course, her team started getting worried because, after all, her name and relevance were tied to the royal family connection. Every room she walked in, every podcast, every media appearance, everything was done with the Duchess of Sussex title as an introduction. It was what gave media personalities like her power, views, and a public presence. They knew she would no longer be as valuable once that name lost the relevance it had. She knew the difference between being a normal celebrity and being royalty, and she knew she would have problems. Everybody knew. All her collaborations, the people she worked with, the big articles about her, they were all about to go down the drain. They were about to gradually disappear, just like the extra branches being cut from the royal household. It was a nightmare for her. Prince William, however, didn't care about her losing her media relevance. That had nothing to do with the crown. All he cared about was protecting the monarchy. All he cared about was for the shakiness the monarchy had been experiencing to disappear. All he cared about was restoring the strength of the once great British Empire. A great idea indeed. One could even call it a perfect idea. As original as it seemed, it wasn't unfounded. This was something various monarchies had faced before and had overcome in their own ways. Regime shifts normally follow the same familiar patterns, repeating themselves in different eras with different names, but the same heartbeat existed underneath. Rulers are simply in love with plagiarism. This powerful idea that William chose to employ wasn't something he just woke up with one morning. No, it was something much more practical. He had been studying other monarchies for years, especially the ones that have successfully transitioned from ancient traditions to modern times. He studied how they managed their titles and the members of their households. One particular case was very interesting. Queen Margrethe II of Denmark. A few years back, the Queen of Denmark made a move that shocked European politics. It was a very bold move, and one that Prince William had no choice but to take note of. She stripped 4 of her own grandchildren of their royal titles. This sent a shockwave across the world. These weren't distant relatives or adopted family members. They were her own biological grandchildren. Her decision was a bold statement telling everybody exactly what the Danish monarchy stood for, what a monarchy should stand for, which was exactly the kind of clarity Prince William was searching for. When she made the decision, she explained that having so many people with royal titles causes confusion. In a monarchy, you do not need confusion. You need clarity and power. It is a sovereign system. So you need sovereignty, not a situation where everyone is included. For Prince William and his team, this idea clicked almost immediately. This was exactly what they were searching for, the sovereignty and absoluteness of a monarchy, where you could tell who was actually representing the family on a much larger scale. He studied the public reaction and how Queen Margaret handled the aftermath and backlash that came with such a controversial rule. This gave him insight into what to do if he were to pass a similar rule in the British monarchy and how to handle the events that would unfold afterward. Of course, there are huge differences between Britain and Denmark, but that was one of the main reasons he assembled a team of international experts to stay by his side. People talked about how hard this was on the Danish family members, but in retrospect, it was necessary. The monarchy came out stronger and more unified, and many of the weaknesses it had before were discarded one by one. Prince William focused not just on what she did, but on how she did it. It was quiet, calculated, and absolute, something his father would never have done. She did it in a way that showed her power and her vision. This was something William wanted for himself, something he felt he was built to do, and something he saw his father wasn't ready to do. His take on this was clear. Monarchies must change before they are forced to. You don't wait for a crisis to hit. You act when a crisis is on the horizon. When too many people have titles and are diluting the brand, it is time to make a change. The prince wasn't just studying Denmark. He was studying Sweden, the Netherlands, and Spain. He was actively looking at how other monarchies work and constantly studying their moves to evolve and solve his own incoming dilemma. The common theme in all the monarchies he studied was their successful modernization. He was trying to figure out how they stay relevant without losing their culture and traditions. He needed to know what was appealing to the 21st century so he could use it in his own monarchy without losing centuries of tradition. Finding the line between staying relevant and not losing what made them special, that was the question he constantly asked himself and his team of experts. Prince William and his team, the Duchess of Sussex and her team. There was one final showdown between these two, trademark shutdown. While William was in London building the framework for a new age of royalty and the boycotting of indecisive royals, Meghan's team on the other side of the world was receiving signals. They became paranoid as words like title, reforms, restructuring, and boycotting started seeping through to them. They immediately started drawing up plans on their dashboard, looking for a new way to avoid the danger from this new system that was about to be implemented. Meghan didn't have dumb people on her team, just as William didn't. They all knew it was time to act fast, faster than the other side. It was a battle on two fronts. One was fighting for the relevance of the British Empire, and the other was fighting for the relevance of her personal brand. These words that were seeping in became more and more solid, and Meghan's team wasn't stupid. They knew their star's media presence heavily depended on her royal connection. So immediately they started running scenarios, looking for angles, and plotting endlessly, searching for ways to protect what they had spent so long building. At last, they came up with a conclusion, a trademark. A trademark on the name Duchess of Sussex was a last-ditch effort to protect what they had built. Even though her status had already fallen considerably from what it once was, they were not about to allow their celebrity to get crushed under Prince William's quest for the British Empire sovereignty. It was a way to own what was still there before it was gone completely, to own it forever. It was clever, at least on the surface. If the trademark became successful, the conversation wouldn't just be about royal protocols anymore. it would switch to it being her name. Nobody would care about the official rules. Everybody would still recognize her with the title of Duchess. Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, will soon stop the royal titles. And according to a statement from Buckingham Palace, it was a clever pitch. But this clever pitch was soon reduced to dust as the palace saw it coming from miles away. There were already existing protocols in place, not just from the prince, but from the royal household itself. These were protocols that had been in place for decades to prevent the personalization of public titles by individuals. The attempt to commercialize a royal title by Meghan's team was already shut down by the palace long before the paperwork was even thought into existence. This wasn't a battle Meghan could win. Her team was not on the same level as the prince's team, which had a plan A, B, C, and D for any route she could have taken to overcome the system. There was just no way Meghan could get through this. That was indeed the end for Meghan and other royals like her, who just fancied the title of royalty for no other reason than personal use. It was the end that Prince William had worked so hard to ensure. In all honesty, what would you have done to Prince William if you were in Prince Harry's shoes? In the end, and what happened today is more than just a political warning for Meghan's rising business empire. It is a reminder that no one, no matter how powerful or influential, can dungwai yung quitak vondang baove suonden kuvungkukan. Parliament has spoken, and tin hiu họ gửi đi mạnh mẽ hơn bao giờ hết. Mỗi hành vi vượt rào, mọi nỗ lực thao túng hình ảnh hay lợi dụng danh tiếng hoàng gia đều sẽ bị soi chiếu đến tận cùng. But this story is far from over. What comes next could reshape not only Meghan's public future, but cả vị thế của cô trong mắt hoàng gia lẫn công chúng toàn cầu. So stay with us, because những gì đang chờ phía trước có thể còn gây chấn động hơn. Thank you for watching. If you want the truth behind every royal headline, remember to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next revelation.